How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So in this video, we're going to look at 5 keys that are falling in price. And some of these I think are at that point where it'd be pretty good to pick it up. I think we've reached the bottom for some of these keys in this video. And before I get into the video, if you head over to collectorscomics.com, I'm going to run my 8th auction. Yes, it's been 2 years of auctions. So if you want to consign a book, consign to our auction. We have about 2 weeks left of consigning. All you have to do is fill out a couple forms over there. It's really simple, super easy. So yes, please consign to our next auction if there's anything you want to sell. And yeah, let's get right into the video. All right, first is Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau, who's in the new Marvels movie. All right, so we're doing that new format again. Recently, one sold for $420. Not too long ago, back in May, it was averaging $514, so it's down 18%. The beginning of the year, it was averaging $527, so that's down 20%. And then overall, from its peak back in 2021, it's down 75%. So yeah, it's still pretty much from January to middle of the year almost. It's dropped, not too much, but then recently it's dropped even more. Since May it's dropped 18%. I think the reason why is, the trailer came out and I think there's not that much buzz about it. I honestly don't think people care as much anymore. I was looking back at the numbers before the boom, and that was, you're probably looking around like, the high twos, mid to high twos, 200s for the price of a 9.8. I think there's still room for this to fall. I think it's going to fall even more. It might get a slight bump once the movie comes out, get a few people excited about it. But overall, I think this book will still continue to drop. Next, we got Black Panther #2, first appearance of Shuri. One recently sold for $200 in May, so not too long ago. It was averaging $205, so it's only down 2%. And then in the beginning of the year, it was averaging $270, that's down 26%. And then it peaked in 2021 for $1,300, that's down 85%. So I looked at the numbers before the boom. It was averaging, a 9.8 was averaging around 175. So it's almost there. And recently, so the last 6 months or so, it's been trading pretty much flat. Like no real ups, no downs. Like obviously you're going to have like this, but nothing sells exactly the same every single month, So it's pretty much almost down to the levels it was before the comic boom. And I think this is pretty much, I think this is going to be its floor. This will be its floor around the $200 mark, just because there is some popularity with the character, so it will get a slight boost. I don't think it'll drop down to like 150 for a 9.8. I don't think so. 175 maybe, but I think it should hang around here. So if you're picking up this book around the $200 mark, I think you're good. Now, for its future, do I think it's going to go back up to $1,300? No. Now, that will not happen. But could you see this book, climbing from 200 to like 300, 400 years down the line? Probably, but it'll be many years down the line. I don't think this is going to be like a huge like gainer. It's not gonna hit that 1,300 again. It probably won't even, like, it would be odd for me to think it would even hit 1,000 in the next 10 years. So I'm thinking this book will climb a little bit, but don't expect like huge gains. Next, we got New Teen Titans Annual #2. So this is the first appearance of the Vigilante. A 9.8 recently sold for $175. And back in May, so about 5-6 months ago, it was selling for like $179. So it's only down 2%. Beginning of the year, it was selling for $177. So basically the same, down 1%. It peaked back in 2021 for $470. That is down 63%. This is the first appearance of Adrian Price, I believe his name is. He's in the Peacemaker. If you haven't seen the Peacemaker TV show, it's fantastic. I went in with the lowest expectations, and it was actually really funny, really good. I really enjoyed it. But anyways, for the last pretty much year, this has been trading sideways. So right around 175. Prior to the comic boom, it was trading around 150. So I would say that this is its bottom for sure, for sure. I think actually recently it's slightly gone up just a little bit. But overall, like, yeah, it's down 1 or 2%, but I've seen ones, like individual ones, sell higher than that. So not averages. So this is, I believe, the bottom. I don't think it's even going to go to the 150 mark. It's been trading like this for a year strong at 175-ish. I think it's going to get a slight boost when the TV Series 2 comes out. I have no idea when that is, but I know it's in the works or soon, or I have no idea. But I believe we'll get a slight boost from that. I could see this book hovering around the 250 mark in a few years, and that's where it's going to kind of like land for a while. But I think that will be its new floors, like around the 250 mark, and like say after season 2, whenever that may be. I think it'll hover around the 250, 225, 250 mark. And will it go back up to 470? It could. Like, this has a lot better chance than I think the other books I mentioned prior to go back to their highs, because 470 is not, it's only down 63%. It's not as high of an ask. So yeah, I could see that happening maybe in a long while, like 5 or 10 years, but in recent years, I can see it going up to 250. All right, next we got Bloodstone #1. This first appearance of Elsa Bloodstone. A 9.8 sold recently for $333. Back in May, it was selling for $396 on average. That's down 16%. Beginning of the year was $443, down 25%, and its peak was $1027. That is down 68%. This was prior, obviously, to the boom. It was around the 250 mark. It looks like it's still dropping, like, 25%, 16%. Like, that's shorter spans, but it's not dropping as drastic, but it's still dropping. So I expect this book to continue dropping. I don't know where it could go. It could go back to the 250 mark. It could go back even further. But for right now, I don't think this is the bottom at all. All right, last on the list is Albedo #3, the second appearance of Usagi Yojimbo, the Rabbit Samurai. One recently sold, a 9.8 sold for $550. Back in May, it was $695. That's down 21%. Beginning of the year is $660. That's down 17%. And its peak was about $2,000, down 72%. This one doesn't sell that often. It's an independent comic book, so it's a lot more rare. I feel like this is going to be one of those books that you have and you just kind of sit on it and you ask a certain price and eventually someone will pay it. The $550 mark, I mean, there's one that sold lower than that a few months back, a one-off. But again, these don't have a lot of sales numbers. I would guess that, beginning of the year $660, then when it went up to $695, now down to $550. I think that's where it's just it's the rarer the book, the more variance you're going to have in prices, because it's just not as common. So, and there's not that many people looking for it. So the 1 or 2 people that are looking for it, they might pay a premium one month. They may not pay a premium the next month. So I would imagine this book is going to hover around this price. The only reason it got a bump in general was because they had a Netflix TV show coming out. No one really knew anything about it. And then it just kind of launched and it was like really not, it was like a kid's thing. It was like zero buzz. I don't even know anyone that ever even watched it. Most people don't even know it existed. And it's on Netflix. So complete dud and failure. So yeah, but in the long run, second appearance, he's on the back cover. He's not even on the front cover. The Albedo #2, though, his first appearance, that book that has many things going for it and it will always be strong. I have a 9.8. But yes, I'm not worried about that book, but this one, I feel like it's going to stay around this price. That'll be it. Once again, open for consignments. Please send in your consignments if you have any that you want to sell. Basically, you just give it to us. We take pictures, list it, ship it out, collect the money, give the money to you. We put it in our auction and we do everything. All you have to do is give it to us. Very simple. All right. Have a good day.